everyone, welcome back to my channel, Single Mother by Choice. My name is Martine. So this weekend is somewhat of a special weekend because it's about the time that I started this channel. So it's been about a year now that I've had this channel, Single Mother by Choice. And initially, I honestly wasn't sure who would care and who would be interested in following my journey. But all I knew was that I definitely wanted to put myself on here for any women considering starting a family on their own or who had been through the process and could give me advice. I just wanted to really form a nice, strong community where women could support each other going through the process of trying to conceive. So I am so grateful to everyone who's followed me along this journey, whether you're a new subscriber or you've been a ride or die since day one. I really appreciate you. And I enjoy all of the comments that you give me. It's really encouraging and the support is amazing. And that's exactly what I was looking for. I'm looking to find ways where we can engage a little bit more interactively or, you know, find other ways that we can support each other. But I'm really excited to continue along this journey and have you follow along. All right, so let's get into the details of what happened with my second cycle. Well, first, what was different is that the first time they prescribed Clomid to me, and that was a nightmare to get my hands on. It was so difficult because it was back ordered and like everyone in my area was practically sold out finally. Anyway, you'll see the story. I'll link it. I don't want to get into it. But anyway, this time they decided to prescribe Femara for me, and I had 3 pills a day at 2.5 milligrams or however it is, 2.5 milligrams, 3 pills a day for 5 days. When I went in for my ultrasound check, I had 3 very small follicles on the right, and then I had 1 large one on the left. And this is the second time that's happened to me, where the left side produces like healthy follicles that are growing, and then the right side is just like a dud. It has the follicles are there. It actually produces more follicles than the left side, but they just never grow. So I don't know if anybody has had that experience before. It's maddening because, you know, this time I only had 1 follicle. I mean, thank God I had a follicle, because then that's a whole other issue. But to me, that is an issue. And I did bring it up to my doctor, but because I had to run off to work, we couldn't get into it and discuss it for long. But it is a concern for me. This time, too, the 2-week wait was not as difficult because, and only because, I was really sick during most of the time. I had a fever, I was like coughing a lot, I was just very sick. I was forced to take ibuprofen because, again, I had a fever, and at some point I even had to, like towards the middle, I was developing a sinus infection, and so I had to take also antibiotics. So my mind, between starting work again, because I work in a school, and then, you know, getting sick, my mind was not necessarily on it. Not to say I didn't think about it at all. That's not true. I thought about it, but I wasn't obsessing over it. I think the first time my mind, like, that's all I would think about. And this time I did think about it, but I wasn't obsessing over it until the very end. Around day 10 or 11, when I knew I could start testing, then I started to sort of like obsessively, you know, look online. But most of the time I was fine, which is good. Because the first time I was like, oh my God, if I have to do this like this every single time, I'm just gonna lose it, right? Like, I'm not gonna survive this. So that was different. I didn't experience any of the symptoms I had the first time, and I'll link the video to that up here as well. Again, maybe because I was sick, because I was medicated, I just didn't feel anything that I did the first time. I was perfectly fine and normal. I think it wasn't until like the tail end, I guess, when I had stopped taking medication and like ibuprofen and stuff, because my fevers had calmed down. I felt sort of like that heavy uterus like I did the first time, or sore a little bit, but it was not anything like the first time where I had symptoms like almost every single day, or what I thought were symptoms, but they were just like, I don't know if they were side effects to HCG shot, but I didn't have any such thing this time. So that was good too. I started to test this time on day 10 or 11, and I think the video you saw last week was day 12 or maybe 13. And then I went to the doctor and they confirmed, of course, through blood work that I indeed wasn't pregnant. And this time too, I wasn't as devastated, and I'll explain why later. But I did get upset, obviously. I was, it hit me, and of course I cried. But I wasn't as down for as long this time. And I think it's because like my mindset is starting to sort of shift a little bit about this whole process and the business of trying to conceive. My eyes are opening a little bit to the business of, cryobanks and fertility clinics, and like I know this is ultimately a business. And so anyway, I'll get into it in another video. I don't want to get into it now, but that was something that also is different from the second time. And I'm still hopeful. I'm still determined. I think I feel more determined now than hopeful. And I think I'm a little bit more realistic too. But I'll get into more of that later. But my question to you, I guess, this week is just, I want to know if anyone's experienced what I've experienced in terms of having one ovary dominate over another. Do you know what caused that? If you did experience it, what did you do about it? Were you able to do anything about it? Because this is like concerning me moving forward. So anyway, that's it. Pretty uneventful second cycle, I think, in terms of like emotionally. It wasn't as draining as the first time, and I learned some new things about my body, like my gosh darn right ovary is really lazy. Of course, right? There's always something. But I'm trying to keep a positive attitude. And once again, your encouragement, your support means like everything to me. It's like, it's so touching. I don't know. I would think that after a while of people commenting, you sort of become jaded or like, oh, okay, that's nice. But it literally means a lot to me. Like when I look at them, I read them again and again sometimes to make myself feel better. And I'm like, okay, like you got to stay strong and like keep being hopeful. And I appreciate all the baby dust and everything. So thanks again for riding along with me the past year. And if you're new, again, welcome. And make sure to share this channel with other women who are trying to conceive, or who are single and thinking about becoming a mom. I'd love to continue building this community with you. And don't forget to comment below, of course, and subscribe. So I look forward to seeing you again. Bye, everybody.